Welcome to the Sawyer On Water podcast. We are actually on the Snake River right now, enjoying a layover day. So kind of figured that what better to do is just take advantage of a little time and have a little chat with Alan and Brian. I've known Alan and Brian, both of them probably a little over 25, 30 years. And we've shared a lot of river experiences. We all kind of are in different aspects of the river ourselves. And so today we're just gonna kind of share a few stories of the river and also kind of ways that folks can get started in the river. If you want to start running river trips, a lot of times it's hard to find out where that is and how you start. So first of all, I'll let these guys introduce themselves. Alan, why don't you introduce yourself and just give us a encapsulation of where you are at this point in your river life.
Well, I'm Alan Svitak, and I've been rafting now for about 30 years. Got started, I was working as a mechanic in a transmission shop, rebuilding transmissions, and one of the companies that Zach was working at kept bringing their vans in. They burning up transmissions.
Those transmissions just burn up all the time. I don't know what it is with these.
But they had a bunch of photos of all this whitewater in there. And I was like, I didn't even know we had whitewater like that around here. And I ended up booking a trip with them. And I just got hooked. And I was like, man, I got to do this. And Zach was like, well, you need to come to our whitewater guide training, next spring. And so that's what I did. And that kind of transitioned into being a whitewater guide for about 25, 30 years. And now I'm retired, and it's still my passion to be out here. I love the whitewater. I love the people. I love the outdoors, and it's why I'm here.
Excellent. Brian, how do we finally get you out there on the water?
Name's Brian Badura, and I started in high school, Tahiti's, the big yellow bananas.
Oh yeah.
On the Rogue River, and just dumb kids. And I ended up meeting Zach at a place we worked at together, and I could cook okay. So I got invited to guide camp on the Cal Salmon and the Scott several times, and I wasn't really rowing, but I was hopping in his boat.
Right.
I was kind of a passenger cook.
Exactly. I mean, we were pretty fortunate that we all met each other when there was these opportunities that we were able to offer. And you kind of started coming to guide camps and then eventually did some guiding, but then also got into doing it yourself.
Yeah.
So how did that transition happen? Moving from going on the river and getting hooked on it, then basically all right, now I need to start running my own boat, start getting that whole barrage of gear.
Well, that was interesting because I quit boating for about 20 years. And about 10 years ago, I started getting the itch again. And it doesn't let go. So got an old cheap boat that leaked. Actually started guiding out of that, and the guests were not pleased with the leaks.
They like the brakes when you stop and pump it up all the time.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, and then just kind of progressively did more and more, and eventually guided on the Middle Klamath for a few years, but it was never my career. I have another career, but it was super fun.
Right.
And
so that was kind of the way you were able to start getting back into it and doing some guiding on the side. And once you get into the fold, you start finding you can acquire a little more equipment easier if you're doing a little bit of guiding.
And then now the passion's multi-day trips with friends.
Nice.
Here we are.
Absolutely. Now, Alan, on this trip, we all know that you invited someone along that had very minimal experience, and basically they had 15 miles of rowing experience before this trip. And is that similar of how you've engaged people into into boating with you, or is this a unique experience?
There's been 3 or 4 people that I've kind of got hooked that way, and you start out mild and
Right.
just kind of learning the basics of rowing and steering a boat and reading water. And yeah, I took Ryan out on the road on just a couple of day trips, little class 2, 3 water, and gave him a few pointers on the basics. And then here he is rowing, big class 4 whitewater on his first real downriver river trip, and just loving it. He's excited.
And that's a real testament to that. As long as somebody has the spirit of the adventure, if they're up for it, then you're ready to go. And it's like, give them the basics. I think all of us have maybe taken people down the lower Rogue the same way, where you get down on the lower Rogue, they kind of run their raft all the way, and if they're really just not feeling it, then you have to deal with just Blossom. And I've had experiences where I've had to run Blossom a couple times, because I would run one boat down and then go back up and run another boat down. I don't know if you guys have
I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I took my brother and his family, and he rode everything except for Blossom.
Exactly.
Very similar, and another friend and his wife, where I would just come back up and row Blossom bar for them, but they row everything else, and they had a blast.
Yeah, and that's a way. That's a way where that person that rows all that, if you take that little bit of Blossom bar out of the scenario, then they get 3 or 4 days of rowing class 2, 3 stuff, and they at least start to build their confidence. And then, like with your brother, did he actually then row his own boat eventually, or?
No. He, I've got a couple boats, so he's gone out with me a number of times.
Gotcha.
But he's got some other interests that he's tied up with right now. But anytime he gets a chance to go, he wants to.
Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, and that's a lot of it, is just having connections, having friends, and having family that can help get you to the river. Brian, what have you had similar cases where you've been training people, or do you mostly get invited on trips and then you've basically started to kind of grow your river lifestyle?
I haven't really had a lot of noobs with me. And I'm kind of selfish with the sticks, but
there you go.
No, my wife, she had just maybe a couple lower Rogue trips in.
Gotcha.
And so not a lot of experience, especially on the oars. And then over the evolution, she has rowed more and more. And the last John Day trip, she took my boat away from me.
There you go.
And wouldn't give it back for 2 days.
That does happen.
So,
Does happen.
So that's kind of been my partner in crime as far as teaching.
Yeah, and then actually, I know that both of you guys actually do a bit of angling as well. And so when you're fishing out of a raft or a drift boat, that does give an opportunity to hit other people on the oars. And I find that if a buddy can row, then they can go. And so it's
well said.
A lot of times if somebody that wants to go fishing, if you can teach them those basics and they understand the fact that you don't just drift with the current, like you literally need to work at it and really slow the boat down so that someone can properly fish. That's another way where the water's not real big, but they can start learning how to row and get a little bit more time on it. You have an experience with that, Brian?
Yeah, I was horrible in a drift boat. Just struggling. We got a drift boat about 8 years ago, and so I had really not much experience in that. So very important, or the biggest aspect for me was trying to figure out where the fish were, but trying to get that boat to where the fish are.
Oh yeah.
And
sports cars.
Know where your passengers, lines are, and getting them in the lane to catch a few fish.
Gotcha. Alan, how about you? I know you've started fishing quite a bit. What have you found as some of the most challenging stuff?
Well, I love the steelhead fishing, and I've done quite a bit on the Rogue and a little bit on the Umpqua. I started out fishing out of my smaller raft, got a fishing frame for it and an anchor set up, and that was working pretty good until I started taking people. And I found that that little raft didn't row nearly as well with a couple people sitting up front. So then I bought a drift boat, used boat, and an outboard motor, and been playing with that for about a year or so now, and loving the steelhead fishing out of the drift boat. Haven't found that person that can row the boat for me while I fish yet.
That's a pursuit. That's a pursuit. You gotta like search for that. But yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, there's multiple ways to enjoy the rivers. Obviously, you know, whitewater rafting, drift boat fishing. Obviously, we've heard a lot of jet boat access on this river here. You know, the rivers are there's something for everybody, and they kind of keep us all coming back. Before we wrap things up, I know that you guys both have been boating for a while, and so there's probably some river events that have happened that were either hilarious, scarier than heck, or just that one of those lifestyle things that you'd never forget. Can you share just one river event with us, Alan?
Let's see.
Hmm.
Just one. Well, probably the latest was the Selway River that I tried for decades. It's one of the hardest permits to get to do a private trip on. They only allow one launch a day in a short season. I was finally able to get on the Selway River, and just a top 5 river experience of my lifetime. Just very remote, one launch a day. You feel like you've got the whole river canyon to yourself. You might go 5 days and not see another boat out there. Some really good cutthroat fishing. So if you're into fly fishing, really neat experience. The first half of the trip is fairly technical. A lot of rocks and rock dodging. You get about halfway down, Moose Creek comes in, and it literally doubles the flow, and then the gradient of that river doubles as well. So you got twice as much water. It's a lot steeper, comes at you a lot faster, and got a lot more of a big water feel to it. I think right now that's the one that stands out in my mind. Definitely a must-do if you get an opportunity.
Absolutely. Brian, how about you? Is there an annual function or something that just you always try and get in your books? Or
So we have an annual function that have a lot of continuing partnerships with and friends that go, and it seems like we all come back to the same year, and it's the John Day. It's just a must for us.
Nice.
In May. It's just absolutely amazing. And no whitewater, but it's just a friend trip. A lot of fish. Yeah, a lot of fish. Bass a cast.
increasing the numbers of fish is good.
Yeah, but that's kind of our main gig. And then the other thing we did was first time on the Grand Ronde. And we got over there, and there was a storm coming in, and we knew about a storm in the mountains around there. We didn't know how big that storm was.
Right.
Yeah,
What time of year?
It was spring, early summer, I think. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I forget the exact month, but we put on at Minum Store, and I think that's where the gauge is. But anyway, it was about 7,000 CFS, and so we got down, and first night, caught a couple fish, beautiful fish in there, and then the rain came. So our friends all knew we were over there. And so it went from 7 to 17,000 CFS basically in 24 hours.
That kind of messes up the fishing.
There was no fishing at that point. And it was, it's not a crazy technical river, but watching the chocolate milk come down and the logs, I didn't see any cows,
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you
it
start
was-
seeing large trees floating by,
It's
that's
a
a
little-
little bit of an indicator of
Yeah.
that maybe things are changing.
So we had people knew we were there, and they didn't call the like search and rescue, but they were darn close, and it was all fine, and it was great.
They were giving you a little time.
Yeah, it was
See if you showed
a
up.
really good experience. It was, it's something unique.
Nice. So those are a couple of your maybe, moments that stick out, favorite trips kind of things. What are some of the just kind of what we would call an event, a rescue event of some sort that has happened on the river to you? Alan, you first.
Well, the one that comes to the mind is what happened to me on the Zambezi River last November. Ever since I started boating, I had heard stories and seen videos and pics of the Zambezi River in Africa. Really big whitewater, and I always wanted to get there. And finally had an opportunity because that dam is close to being dammed up, and a lot of that whitewater is going to go away into a reservoir if that happens. Spent 4 days above Victoria Falls on a safari section where the wildlife is just incredible. Every kind of African wildlife you can think of was there, and we could see it camping with it. Then we got to rappel down Victoria Falls on the left side at low water. The left side's dry, and about a 300-foot rappel. And then you go into a canyon with some of the best whitewater on the planet. And spent 7 days rafting that whitewater, and several portages and ghost boats. As we were getting near the end of that section on one of the Class 5 rapids, I missed my line and took a swim. And when I came up under the raft, I crawled to the side of the raft and pulled myself up just as the raft smacked the canyon wall pretty hard, and ended up fracturing 2 vertebrae and 4 ribs. And still had 4 more days left on the
Very very epic for sure.
But thinking I just had maybe some broken ribs, ended up sticking it out, and the rest of the crew was very experienced and was very helpful. Set up my tent for me, carried my bags.
Right. And that's where that, something like that really comes into play, of just like, having a tight group of friends that you boat with, can make all the difference no matter what the event is. Like that was a very severe river incident, and you came through that with that support of your friends you were boating with, and just getting it done.
Yeah, 30 years of boating Class 4 or 5 whitewater, and that's the first time I've ever had anything more than a bruise or a scrape.
Nice. Well, we're glad you're here boating with us today.
Back out on the water.
Absolutely. Now, Brian, I don't expect you to top that.
No, that wins.
Hopefully you have not
He was boating with crocs.
He was boating with crocodiles and hippos. But give us just one traumatic rescue type event that you've had to encounter.
I want to make it about me.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
With some good friends, spring on the cow salmon. And let's just say the level that we put on was not recommended. It was pretty high. On the old gauge, it was huge. And so we were going down through, making it fine, and we hit one of the rapids, probably just Class 4. And we hit a wall, and guess who flies out of the boat? That'd be me. Well, I got stuck in the eddy, and the boat flushed. And it was big enough that the friends got a little worried about me, because I was stuck in there.
Just
not underwater necessarily.
Just recircling around, riding around in the eddy.
And I was fine, I'm like, well, they were a little worried. So finally flushed through, and the look on their faces was just amazing. And they're like, you're alive. that kind of thing. It wasn't that scary.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
was that was a moment. I haven't, knock on wood, had too many rescue situations.
Nice.
Try to keep
Nice.
it at my level.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things is like, we all keep going on these trips. You have this group of friends, you get invited on these trips, and we all know that kind of in the back of our head, something like that could happen and we could be part of that type of situation. But having that good group of folks that you boat with is very important. And I think if anybody watching this kind of learns anything, is that most of the people that see this have that tight-knit group of people, of friends that they get invited on these trips all the time, and they kind of know who you boat with. If you know the folks that you boat with well, then you know how those situations will go, and you know who you kind of lean on in different situations. But that's also one of those things that many people are trying to find, is like trying to find that community. And so I know, Alan, you've kind of brought some people into your boating community. And do either one of you have any suggestions for someone who, say, is seeing this and thinking, man, that's something I want to do?
That's a tough one to get started
Yeah.
in. It's just
So what I typically tell folks is, first things first, kind of like what Alan did, is that find a local outfitter. Go with a local outfitter. Because the first time you go with a local outfitter, actually, in Alan's situation, I believe that his garage group, they went in October, and it was not the sunshine, blue sky kind of weather day, but it was on the Upper Klamath, and the whitewater was good. It provided a lot of excitement, and that was kind of where he got that bug. And so I think that outfitting is a great place to start. And no matter where you are, if you're in a river community, seek out an outfitter, get that first bit, and then look and see if you really like that. Then look around, see if there's guide schools offered, or there's some companies that offer kind of row your own kind of thing. But I think that's really kind of the only real avenues that get people into it. Or you have family friends that you invite along, and you invite them into your group, and you invite them into your permit group, and then they get the bug because they got on a trip with a friend of a friend, and then they start trying to get other people into it. But it's almost like the community has to kind of grow organically that way.
Sure.
Like here, we don't have whitewater rafting in schools. You don't really have that much whitewater rafting in colleges. Some of the outdoor programs do have some of that, but that's where I got started, was actually in college. And so that's a thing, like for younger folks, they seek out like the outdoor rec center and that kind of place. Then a lot of times they can find access to river trips. Also like youth groups, church groups, some of them have 10, 12 boats, and they go all the time. And so like just another avenue to find your way. But I know that you guys have found your way in this river lifestyle for quite some time. And is there a tidbit that you would tell maybe Ryan, who has just now got this bug because he did his 15 hours of warm-up rowing, and now he is navigating his own boat down the Snake River Canyon here? And what kind of tidbit do you tell the Ryans out there that can possibly help them chase that bug?
Well, when you get bit by that bug, you don't have to go big all at once. You can start small with an inflatable kayak or a small raft, and maybe not with the deluxe multi-day downriver setup. But just start doing day trips, on the class 2, 3 stuff. It's fun. It's great to be out there, in the outdoors, in the water, and you just build on that over time, and you meet people that are involved with it, and you start to get a network of people that you can go boating with, and they help you along on that track to become a better, more experienced boater.
Yeah, and you get those friends of yours that start looking for used boats for you, and they start calling you up or sending you a text going, dude, check this one out.
Comes with oars.
It comes with Sawyer Oars? Oh, you got to buy it. So Brian, anything really
actually, Alan, you nailed what I was kind of thinking. And I was just going to say, keep your mind open to new people, and maybe a new river, and keep it in your skill set. Ryan jumped right ahead with his skill set.
He did. But I think everybody everybody moves at their own pace, and so there are a lot of easier steps away.
Absolutely. And I think eventually, it's important to figure out who you would go on a week-long river trip with, and you'll figure it out.
Ryan didn't jump out here by himself.
Yeah,
right.
He's got some
he
very
jumped out with the
experienced
support
people.
system.
Yeah, but you'll filter through the people and find out who your group is.
Yeah, and I think along the way, that's a very important point. Is that along the way, you will go on some trips with people that you will get through that river trip, and then you'll be like, okay, next time they call, I think I'm busy, because that was not quite the adventure I wanted. And that's all part of the journey. Nevertheless.
Totally. That's the beauty of it.
Well, excellent. Brian, thank you. Alan, thank you very much for joining me here. And for all of you out there, if you enjoyed this, please tell your friends, tell your neighbors, spread the word with your river community. Check out anything to do with Sawyer Paddles and Oars at paddlesandoars.com. And if you do get out here on the river and you're sharing the river space with folks, remember, be patient, be calm, and we'll see you on the river. That's it.